Cheers everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into the second installment of the top 30 albums of 2015. This is the video that I'm sure everyone has been anticipating, and if you haven't already checked out the honorable mentions video and the first half of the top 30 list, numbers 30 through 16, definitely check out those two videos before checking out this final list, just so you can see what we've already talked about and what might make it to this top portion. Again, thank you for everyone who's watched this here and everyone who's made it this far. So let's not waste any more time with this. Let's get into the top half of the top 30, numbers 15 through number 1. Let's get on with it. And kicking off this video at number 15 is Soilwork with The Ride Majestic. Soilwork once again proving that melodic death metal of the original Gothenburg style is still alive and well and still relevant today. For the first half of their career, it always seemed like Soilwork was the underdogs in comparison to bands like Dark Tranquillity and In Flames. But over the last few years, over the last few albums, they have stayed true to the original style and their original goal from whence they started, and they have proven that they are now the kings of the melodic death metal style, since bands like In Flames and Dark Tranquillity have shifted their style just a little bit, but Soilwork have always stayed true to their roots and have always evolved and progressed and even gotten more technical over the years, but still staying true to what made them original from the get-go. This is an incredible album from them, not as great as the double album mammoth set, The Living Infinite, which we've also reviewed on this channel, but still a great follow-up to that record, still following in the same style that they started to convey on that record, and still kicking it still to this day in 2015. This is a great statement for melodic death metal in 2015, and perhaps one of the best releases you're going to get of the genre in recent times. So, coming in at number 15, The Ride Majestic by Soilwork. Coming up next at number 14 are the German progressive power metal masters Blind Guardian with their new album Beyond the Red Mirror. Now, you can't really go too wrong with any Blind Guardian release, but in my opinion this is one of the strongest records they've put out since 1998's Nightfall in Middle Earth. And Hansi Kirsch is sounding better than ever, the band is sounding better than ever, grandiose than ever. The production on this is a little bit muddy at times, but the songs have enough strength where the production almost doesn't even matter. This was on heavy repeat once this record came out and is still heavy on the turntable even now in the month of December. For those getting into the band, this is a good place to start. It really is, and has that sort of instant classic status already, even though it hasn't even been a year since this thing has come out. And this band is still showing that they can still be fresh, new, but still have that classic Blind Guardian folk tale, progressive, epic side. And yeah, this band sounding bigger and better than ever. Can never go wrong with Blind Guardian. Coming in at number 14, Beyond the Red Mirror by Blind Guardian. Great stuff. Next up at number 13, Norwegian prog metalers Leprous with their new album The Congregation. Leprous have been on a great uphill streak ever since their inception, and being the backing band for Ishan over the last few albums he's put out has given this band some publicity and a good push into the spotlight. This is one of the most accessible Leprous has put out, and I think it has come with good reason and with good outcomes. This band has got melody, groove, heaviness, catchiness, and uniqueness. Uniqueness is a great way to put this band. The vocalist of this band reminds me a lot of Devin Townsend at times, but still has his own very unique voice. It's got a lot of mellow moments, got a lot of operatic moments, it's got some parts where it's belted out, it's got the whole package, and again, it is groovy and it will mesmerize you in certain spots. For those who want to get into Leprous, I think this is a good place to start and a great album in the year of 2015 for prog metal. Coming in, number 13, Leprous with The Congregation. Taking the number 12 spot is a band who needs no introduction in the realm of progressive metal, Symphony X with their new album Underworld. It had been a few years since the release of their last album, but Symphony X is another band who never disappoints from release to release. Classic progressive metal with classical symphonic elements mixed in. This band has always made classic, memorable songs, and this album is no different. But stylistically, in the way that they have constructed this album in terms of their songwriting, It's definitely a good blend of the new and the old. Russell Allen sounding gruff, rugged, and belting out vocals better than ever, which is great to hear again after his experience with the last few Adrenaline Mob albums, but we'll just leave that to the wayside. It's great to hear Russell belting it out again. Everyone's sounding great again. The one thing I wish this album had more of was more keyboard presence and more keyboard solos. And the keyboards were always a big melodic statement for this band in the early days of Symphony X. But for whatever reason, this is still a solid classic album already back in the books for Symphony X. So coming in at number 12, Symphony X with Underworld. And taking the number 11 spot on this list, Los Angeles progressive sludge metalers Intronaut with The Direction of Last Things. And what more can I say about Intronaut that I haven't already said in the past? These are some of the tightest live players you'll ever see, and when it comes from releasing album to album, these guys always know how to deliver forward-thinking progressive sludge metal. And whether you partake in the ganja or not, this band will encase you and enthrall you with the rhythmic and melodic shifts from passage to passage, song to song, counterpoint, polyrhythms, melodies, slams, hooks, breakdowns. This band has it all and somehow wraps it up in a nice, mellow atmosphere that will just encapsulate you from every album. And this one, mixed by Devin Townsend, has more dynamics than ever. The songs are some of the strongest they've ever put out. Having been on tour with Ben Sharp of Cloudkicker, this band has been revitalized in a way that I never thought possible. Even more rhythmical illusions and polyrhythms have been incorporated into this band to some extent that it actually sounds like Cloudkicker himself. This is one of the best records this band has put out and one of my top favorites of the year. Do not sleep on this if you are into progressive sludge metal and a fan of Intronaut. Do not let this slip by you. Coming in at number 11, Direction of Last Things by Intronaut. And finally making it to the top 10, coming in at the number 10 spot is a newcomer to this channel and a newcomer in the world of progressive metal, a band that has taken quite a lot of spotlight this last year, and here's their first debut record from Native Construct with Quiet World. This is a Boston local band, Berklee School of Music graduates, and boy, the musicianship and audio construction on this record is unique and a sight to behold. Melodically, this is the Deer Hunter meets Between the Buried and Me. This band is melodically intense, musically intense, and the story and the artwork is absolutely incredible on this. Much like Chan, very colorful, beautiful imagery, and this artwork is no different. If you want something that's unique, fresh, and new, and something that's going to push your musical boundaries and take you a little bit out of your comfort zone, do not hesitate to listen to Native Construct's Quiet World, because I think you'll be very impressed. I certainly am, and that's why it makes the top 10 spot on the top 30. So coming in at number 10, Quiet World by Native Construct. Excellent stuff. Coming in at the number 9 spot is yet another band who has yet to disappoint in the world of progressive rock. From Poland, Riverside with Love, Fear, and The Time Machine. We've talked about Riverside before, and here they are again on the top list. If you are a fan of the more melodic, ambient side of progressive rock a la Pink Floyd, there's no reason not to love Riverside. Over the last few records, they have stripped down their sound a little bit more. Sometimes they can be a little bit technical, but more so they are a more stripped down ambient project, and they really know how to make melody, beauty, and emotion shine. Lately, they've been getting on a more optimistic tone and lyric concept, and I think that this is a very uplifting record to listen to. Great, addicting, mellow progressive rock. This is one that you can put on heavy repeat and not get tired of it. It's got a lot of variety, a lot of variation, and some emotionally gripping stuff. Ain't no reason why a Pink Floyd fan can't enjoy some good old Riverside. Riverside with Love, Fear, and The Time Machine. Excellent stuff. Taking the number 8 spot is very fitting for this one because this is the first record from this band in 8 years. And what a comeback album it is for Anekdoten with Until All the Ghosts Are Gone. Absolutely love this cover art as well. Let me get this off so I can kind of show the whole thing. So, this band has been hit or miss with a lot of critics. And it's almost in the same vein as why most people hate the band Van der Graaf Generator with Peter Hamel on vocals. Sometimes people consider progressive rock to be a genre filled with some of the worst vocalists of all time. I wouldn't call them bad, I just call them misunderstood. And a lot of the times, the vocalist for Anecdote gets very drastically misunderstood. But I cannot see this band any other way. Musically, if you are a fan of the last two Opeth records, Heritage and Pale Communion, there is a no-brainer as to why you wouldn't enjoy this. Musically, it's very much like those last two Opeth records, but this is some of the most authentic sounding progressive rock you're going to hear in 2015. Mellotron, Mellotron, Mellotron. Cannot get enough of the Mellotron. So much of that original King Crimson sound mixed into this as well. And boy, is it such a refreshing tone to hear in 2015. I think this is one of the best releases this band has put out, and it only took 8 years for it to come, but I think the vocals are some of the best vocals that Anecdote has had. I, for one, happen to very much enjoy them. They do take some getting used to, and again, they do add a very unique character to this kind of stuff. Give it some time. Give it some time. This is a great record, and I think that if you don't get it right away, stick with it, because it's going to develop over time and unwrap itself with each and every listen. Don't sleep on this if you're a fan of progressive rock. I think this is going to be one you're going to very much enjoy if you check it out. Taking the number 8 spot, Anecdote with Until All the Ghosts Are Gone. And taking the number 7 spot on this list, the three traveling minstrels, the Aristocrats with Tres Caballeros. This is the trio of some of the world's best musicians when it comes to drum, guitar, and bass. Brian Beller, Guthrie Govan, and Marco Miniman need no introduction when it comes to their virtuosic talents on their instruments. But it's not just about shredding 24 hours a day. I mean, I'm sure that's how they got that good. But this band has always come up with great, unique ways to showcase their talents and also write some catchy, unique music. And on album number 3, they decided to strip down their kind of technical showcase in the songs a little bit and kind of give the songs a little bit more mellowness, a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more of an open structure. And again, as ridiculous these songs may be, they really do paint a nice picture in your head. It's not just about how good you are at your instrument, it's about what can you do in the songwriting department. And this band has proved time and time again, even on album number 3, that they can really put together some unique stuff. It's definitely a band that sets themselves away from the rest of the pack when it comes with instrumental stuff. And this is a band that I cannot recommend enough to up-and-coming, motivated, aspiring musicians. Excellent stuff. Cannot say enough great things about them. And terrific, terrific live band. So, I think I've said enough. Check this album out. Tres Caballeros by the Aristocrats, coming in at number 7. And coming in at the number 6 spot, we have undoubtedly the master of instrumental guitar rock, Joe Satriani with Shockwave Supernova. Forward-thinking packaging. I think this is some of the coolest stuff. I don't know if you can see that, but this has got some cutouts and really makes owning the physical copy really unique. Him in his metallic jacket, kind of goofy, but you know what? I love the gimmicks. But when it comes to gimmicks in music and in guitar playing, it's not just about being flashy. Once again, it's about what you can do in the songwriting department. This record has an incredible amount of variety and is a musical journey from start to finish. Joe representing his alter ego, Shockwave Supernova, of which the album title is coming from. And I gotta say, this really showcases what Joe can do and what he can do best through 15 different songs on here. From Shockwave Supernova to Goodbye Supernova, this is packed with some great, great stuff. Great melodies, great production, very well written. When it comes to Joe Satriani, you can never really go too wrong, but this is a very great showcase of his entire career, all wrapped up into a brand new record. And Joe was one of the main reasons why I decided to pick up a guitar in the first place, so hearing him still put out great material after all these years is even inspiring to me. So definitely check this out. So coming in at the number 6 spot, the master guitar player, Joe Satriani, with Shockwave Supernova. And this is where things are going to start to get interesting. Breaking into the top 5 at the number 5 spot is a great reunion of sorts and a real fun album. This is Tesseract with album number 3, Polaris. Now, what makes this a reunion is their original vocalist from their first debut full-length, Daniel Tompkins, is back singing with them. And once you get the original lineup back into a band, it is always a great moment because you think that they can channel some of that original gusto. I think they got that on this record. It doesn't have too much of the screaming, growly vocals that the original Tesseract 1 release had. But moving into the future, I think this is a direction that Tesseract really doesn't need anymore. Daniel Tompkins' voice can speak for itself. One of the best vocalists in contemporary progressive metal, and this guy's got a future ahead of him. This band's got groove, tightness, accuracy, great melodies, great songs. This isn't too long of a record, and the songs aren't too long, which only adds to the repeatability of this record. And listening to this again only makes you like it more. It doesn't really take away or annoy you after repeated listens. This is one that made it very high for a good reason, and I think this is one that everyone should check out. A return to form and a return of the original vocalist, Daniel Tompkins, into the world of Tesseract. And what a record this is. Coming in at number 5, Tesseract with Polaris. Taking the number 4 spot is a record from this year that should be celebrated. Not just for the quality of the material, but for what it represents for this particular group. Iron Maiden with The Book of Souls. Their first album in 5 years, almost 40 years as a working band, and their first double album set in a studio form. Not only that, but Bruce Dickinson, battling with throat cancer, still sang on this record. We already know what a polished Iron Maiden sounds like. Go listen to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. But if you want to hear Iron Maiden crafting a work of art in a live setting, putting it to tape, this is one of the most perfect representations of this band that I could ever imagine. This is magic in a bottle. This may seem a little bit long-winded at times, but of course that's bound to happen if you're taking live takes into the consideration of a final recording. But this is great. Bruce Dickinson still sounds great even with throat cancer, which he beat the crap out of, and honestly, this is a stellar release for so many different reasons. Quality material, quality band, 40 years in the business, they still know how to pull the new tricks, and they still know how to make all the right stops. And if this is the last chapter of this band, what a way to go. What a way to go. The Book of Souls, Iron Maiden, coming in at number 4. Which takes us to the top 3, and these were the 3 albums that not only did I think that they were the best of the year, but these were the 3 albums that were on the heaviest rotation, of which I got the most enjoyment from. So please take that into consideration for this top 3. So coming in at the number 3 spot, in my opinion, the best instrumental record of the year, Scale the Summit with 5. The 5th instrumental installment from this Texas instrumental progressive metal band. Quality, conceptual instrumental metal based on nature-esque themes. And this really paints the picture quite vividly. All you need is the song title and is listening to the song once, and you're there. You are in that setting, and it's perfect. And it really brings you to a whole new world listening to each one of these tracks. And it only gets better each and every time. It's adventurous, it's daring, it's forward-thinking, it's cutting edge, very well played, very well produced. And again, it's what I've said before. It's not about showing how well you can play on your instrument, it's how well you can craft a good piece of music. And this band always knows how to just play the perfect notes in the right order and crafting perfect pieces of music each and every time. There's not a bad song on this disc, and there's hardly a bad song on any Scale the Summit records. To me, they're one of the most perfect instrumental bands to ever exist, and I'm so glad I've had the pleasure of enjoying them and seeing them live since the very beginning. This has got their new drummer on the skins on this record, and it didn't really change the songwriting all too much. In fact, it actually enhanced it in certain technical aspects. Just listen to the 2 tracks, Kestrel and Ort Cloud, and you'll see exactly what I mean of what he can do with this percussion. This is one of those records that inspires you after you finish listening to it. As a guitar player, I can just eat this shit up, and I do each and every single time. But for those who don't play an instrument, this might actually inspire you to want to become a musician. Always quality, always solid, always on point. Scale the Summit 5, album number 3 of the year. And taking the number 2 spot is a band who always seems to climb incredibly high on each one of these lists, each and every time they put out a record. I've said so much great stuff about this band in the past, and I really don't think I can say too much more about them now, but they've made it once again to the top list. And at the number 2 spot, we have Between the Buried and Me with Coma Ecliptic. Since Colors, The Great Misdirect, the Parallax 2 feature sequence, and now Coma Ecliptic. This band has not let up. This band does not disappoint, because this is a band who not only creates great songs and shows their technical prowess each and every track, but they know how to craft and sculpt the album. This is something this band has done very well since the beginning, but I think has pushed more bands to kind of follow suit in crafting not only a great batch of songs, but making it so cohesive that from beginning to end also creates a great album and musical adventure and pleasurable experience. This album has more dips and dives than any of their previous work. Dare I say, more progressive than their already progressive style. I've said it each time, I'm not sure if this is the best record that they've done. I'm not sure if this is the best record they've ever done. With each and every record, it seems like they could have made the best thing they've ever done. But that's because this band seems to push themselves harder and harder each and every time. And that's the showcase of a great and talented band. A band is willing to take risks each and every time and doesn't settle for repeating themselves each and every album. This is a progressive metal opera representing what could be the next Twilight Zone in terms of what the lyrics represent. Cannot get enough of this record. Taking the number 2 spot, Between the Buried and Me with Coma Ecliptic. Which takes us to the number 1 spot. What a year it's been. I think everyone sees this coming from a mile away. It's been my album of the year since February. And what a record this has been. From an individual who I've talked about quite a lot on this channel. An individual who's had the top spot before, but he's done it again. He's done it again. Album of the year, 2015. Hand Cannot Erase by Steven Wilson. I've already done my review of it from this year. I'll leave that in the description box. I don't think there's really much else I can say about it other than this is a work of art. It truly represents what the album concept truly is. Not only in long form musicality, but also the packaging. I mean, everything that went into the concept, the additional little trinkets to not only have you understand the character, but also bring you into the story. I mean, this is a little diary, an art book that this character was supposed to have made themselves. I mean, you got postcards and letters. This very well could have been overcooked. This could have been overblown, but I think everything that was done on this record is very well representative of what high conceptual art is supposed to be. And not only that, I think that it truly represents what Steven Wilson has done as a musician, but I think this is the perfect representation of who he is as an individual. And it is just such a pleasurable listen. The production, the playing, the variety, the instant classic status that this has. It does leave me speechless. This is near flawless, and there's a reason as to why it's number 1. I knew it from the moment I heard it, and it almost scared me because I thought I was being biased. Just because I'm a fan of Steven, I've loved everything he's done, that I thought that I'm just being a fanboy. Listen to this record and get back to me. What an incredible disc. Steven, you've done it again. And all I say is just leave room for someone else to take this top spot next year. But yeah, that's it. If you want a little bit more in depth of what this record actually is, you can watch my review of it. But it's undoubtedly the winner of 2015 for me, and that's gonna be it. I'm out of words. I'm literally at a loss for words with this. Do check this album out if you haven't already, and do check out all of the other albums that I have talked about. Leave your comments below. Leave your top album of the year below. Leave your top albums of the year below. Make this into a cool discussion, and I do hope you all have a happy and safe new year. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. And I'm tired. I'm going to have myself a beer because I am tired of talking. Now it's time to bring in this new year right. So happy new year, happy listening, and enjoy listening to the music. Cheers.